We're joined by senior politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo, who's been tracking the story. Ziyanda, of course, has gotten a lot of traction.
Yes.
You know, people have been asking all sorts of questions. I'm of the school of thought thinking, okay, these are SANDF members. They plan for all sorts of atrocities, so certainly wouldn't be unusual for them to have endless supply of anything that they may need. They deal with a lot of cargo too. But has the SANDF itself been able to explain how their members had access to this tobacco?
Well, no, we haven't actually gotten any response from the SANDF, and there's three questions that have been raised since that footage was trending on social media. The first is, okay, so do these generals have 4 months worth of cigarettes because the ban has been in place for that long? But secondly, they're smoking in uniform. On a more serious note, surely there's a code of conduct against that, and the SANDF has been asked questions. They're smoking, and then they're smoking right next to the hearse of Andrew Mlangeni. And so those are the key questions that the SANDF has not been able to ask. We've put a request since yesterday, and we sent questions. No response has been, forthcoming. And of course, if you look at those visuals, this is the top brass. You can see that these are the most senior. And of course, it was a special official funeral, category 1 for Istwalandwe. So these are just not junior officials that we are seeing there. And I mean, it's many people being upset, actually, saying that this is a slap in the face of President Cyril Ramaphosa and the ministers who are really trying to actually ensure that the regulations are adhered to. But even Premier David Makhura was at that briefing when I actually asked him that question, and he said, well, he won't comment on whether or not it's kosher for them to be smoking, but from a health perspective, surely even smoking during COVID-19 is not the best decision.
I suppose at the heart of it is that it goes against the spirit of what the president and the COCTA MEC have been saying. And so the leadership must certainly be seen to be leading from the front. Bheki Cele came down hard on people that were smoking in public or caught smoking in public, saying that they were going to demand receipts. We haven't seen police come out to say they want those officials to produce receipts of where they procured their cigarettes.
Yes, and I put out a call to the police ministry. They said, look, smoking is not illegal, and we all know that smoking is not illegal in South Africa. The point is there is a ban in place. It's been in place since March. And to say they have the minister coming out on more than one occasion, Cathy, I remember him actually being very stern about that when people asked about the ridiculousness of such a regulation, to ask people to produce a receipt when stopped by officials if you are seen smoking. And the minister was actually quite clear that yes, officials, specifically SAPS, have a right to stop you and ask you where you purchased your cigarettes. And in that bud we just heard a short while ago, he was saying it would assist them to be able to ascertain where you would have bought it from, whether it was bought from, the black market. And so the question that I posed was, will the minister be soliciting such receipts from these generals, given the fact that it shouldn't be difficult to be able to identify them? It was at a funeral, we would have known who those generals are. And these are also, that's another question, who are these generals that were busy smoking at that particular point in time?
You literally brought me to my next question, because the other easy way to get answers is to contact the generals themselves. And have we been able to identify who exactly, what's their name? We can see their faces, but what are their names and what positions do they hold in the SANDF?
We haven't been able to ascertain that. We're still trying to get to the bottom of that, but it should be a simple phone call, Cathy. Call the defense minister. And another key question is, if such high-ranking officials are caught on camera doing such actions, who's going to discipline them? Because they are supposed to be the disciplinarians. And so one would also want to hear from the defense minister what kind of action is taken. I think the key thing here is that they were also wearing their uniform and they were on the job. So I don't think the story is over just yet.